going to show you how to make an abstract clay tile. So to start by making our tile, I'm going to put my guides down either side of my lump of clay and roll out my clay. As you can see, I'm picking it up and moving it around every time, kind of every 3 or 4 rolls. This is because if I keep rolling it in one position, it will just roll out as one long rectangle, which I don't want. I want a lot of surface area. So I'm going to continue to do that until it's nice and flat. Your guides are there to make sure that you don't roll it too thin or unevenly. Now I'm going to use my tile cutter to cut out a perfect square tile. You won't be doing this, your teacher will do this for you, but this is how it works. So you push it down, lift it up, and then you can push the spring and it will just pop out, like so. So here is my tile base. So now I'm going to make some decorations for the top. So inspired by my pencil sharpener composition, I'm going to make some squares and circles. So I'm just cutting out a rough square from my spare clay, and I'm going to refine this a bit with some water just to smooth it out and make it a better shape. So here it is. So now I'm going to attach it. I'm going to do this by doing the slip and score method. So you want to start by scoring the whole side of the square that's going to stick onto the tile. And then you want to score the place on the tile that you're going to attach it to. And then to this you add some water, which kind of activates to make a type of glue almost. And then you squish them both together, and the texture on both sides and the water will work together to stick it on, like so. I'm going to do this with a circle as well. So the easiest way to make a circle is to get a ball of clay, roll it in your hands to make a sphere, put it down gently on your table, and then use the end of your rolling pin to apply firm pressure. Do this once or twice. And once you peel it off, you'll see you've got a pretty good circle. So again, I'm going to use some water to slightly refine this and make it a bit smoother. Here we go, so now I'm going to do the slip and score method again. So I'm scoring the whole side of the circle that I'm going to attach to my tile, deciding where I'm going to put it, and then scoring my tile as well. Adding some water to activate a kind of glue consistency, and then firmly pressing that on. I'm also going to spend a bit of time refining it just to make it really nice. So this is what I've got so far. I'm going to make one more little circle, a bit smaller than the last one, as you can see, and I want to attach this so it's kind of half on and half off one of the shapes I've already made. So I'm deciding which one I want to put it on. I think I'm going to put it on the square. So this time I'm just going to score a small section of the square and half of the circle, because that's the only bit that's going to attach itself. Again, add some water and stick it on. I'm going to press quite firmly and make sure that this is joined really well, because obviously it's not as secure as the other shapes. So this is where I'm up to now. I'm going to start doing some embossings now. So I'm going to use some found objects. I'm starting with this fork and I'm deciding where to put it, and I'm going to kind of drag this and firmly apply pressure to the fork to create this kind of swooping line. I'm doing this twice just to make sure that it's neat and you can see it. I also want to add some more shapes on top of this indentation I've just made. So I've just cut out a little tiny square and I'm going to add this on top of the fork lines because I want there to be some overlap and some layering to make it more interesting. So I'm popping that on there. Okay, now I've got all these found objects here. We've got some screws, some bolts, all kinds of things. And I'm going to play around with pushing these in to see what kind of marks they make. You don't want to push too hard. You don't want to go all the way through your clay tile. You just want to kind of make a nice indentation, embossing even. So you can push into the clay. You can also roll things. You can see that this is quite nicely textured. It's got some lines in it. So if I roll it along the surface of the clay, it will leave behind some lines. I'm going to overlap these lines as well, so it kind of makes a grid. All of these different objects make really nice, really different outcomes. So you can really experiment with these. You can also refine them a bit more with some water or with your tool. You can also overlap your embossings. So over the grid I've just made, I'm going to push this in and you'll be able to see that the grid has come through onto that bit that it's squished, which looks quite interesting. So I'm just going to continue to play around with this composition. You can also use the same object in different ways. So with the fork I've dragged it, but I'm also going to push it in to create these kind of square dots all over. I'm also going to roll this on top of the bits that I've attached, just to add a bit more texture. You want to add texture to kind of every layer that you've put on. And just keep going until you're happy with your composition. You can always go over things, make things deeper. If you just kind of rub your finger over things, it will get rid of them. Now I'm going to use some water just to refine the edges, because that's something I've neglected. So I just want to smooth it all out. And really importantly, don't forget to put your name or your initials and your form on the back of your clay tile like this, so we know whose is whose. And here is the finished tile.